Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10 and support the channel at the same time. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. A lot of interesting things going on in the market this week. There's a little more interest in some of the vintage cards, maybe more buyouts going on. We'll take a look at those. We're also seeing some big spikes in a few cards like Stoneforge Mystic, Grim Lavamancer. We'll explore that and what's happening there. And as always, we'll check in, of course, with what else is happening in Modern as well as Standard. Quickly before we get started, though, just a really fast reminder, if you check out the description below, you'll find a few ways to help support what we do here at the channel, one of which is our Patreon page that's linked below. You're also going to find links to products on Amazon. If you make any purchases on Amazon, it really can be anything. Once you go through that link, we'll get a small percentage for the channel. Finally, Flipside Gaming still offering a promo code for our viewers. Hopefully you can save some cash while you support the channel. They still are offering some of those Richard Kane Ferguson playmats as well. If you're a fan of old school art from Legends especially, check those out. But with all that out of the way, I just want to say thank you, not only to the folks that look at those links, but to all the viewers. Y'all make the channel what it is. So let's get into it. We're going to begin with the top 5 standard legal cards that have lost value this week. Now, we're kind of in this weird spot with Standard currently because next week is the core set pre-release. The week after, the core set will hit stores and competitive play will begin with those cards. So a lot of folks are hesitant right now to pick up anything expensive for Standard because the meta is about to shift on us pretty dramatically. The other factor is we are closing in on this fall's rotation as well. You're definitely going to see those factors impacting the cards this week. Number 5, Walking Ballista, down 64 cents to $15.95. This card had a very successful previous Standard meta, and yes, you could argue over the last few weeks, maybe percentage-wise, it slowed down a little bit in popular decks, but it's still out there. Actually, still seeing play in some new places recently. You're seeing it a little more so in like control builds than you were maybe at the beginning of the meta. But the big question with this card for a lot of people is, if I want this for a modern deck, for example, one of the Tron decks or Collected Company decks, when do I pull the trigger on this? Well, it's not yet, because this card is still going to see play quite a bit in the future, even after rotation, thanks to all the modern decks that it sees play in, not to mention a little bit of legacy and vintage play too. Now just remember though, people are going to want to liquidate their standard collections to upgrade for rotation. That's going to happen within a few weeks. It's not going to happen yet, but give it about 4 weeks or so from now, and I think you're going to be able to find this card maybe closer to the $10 mark. Because what's going to happen, players are going to wait and see what gets played at some of the big tournaments once the core set does drop. Then they will make a decision as to what their final deck is going to be until rotation. And if it doesn't include Walking Ballista, guess what? They're going to start selling them off to start picking up cards for the future. And that's when you're going to see the big price drops. Number 4, Chandra Torch of Defiance, down 74 cents to $16.50. This has a lot of similarities to the previous card. It's going to rotate out. It had a very successful life in Standard. It does see play in other places aside from Standard, maybe not as much as Ballista, but you will find like typically 4 copies of these in like Mono Red Prison and Legacy. You're going to find this, of course, in like Land Destruction decks and Modern. It also showed up in one of the Challenger decks, so a lot of similarities. And because of that, my advice is the same. If you want to pick up this card, I'd wait a few weeks. It will go lower. Number 3, Ronas, the Indomitable, down 84 cents to $15. Couple of things hurting Ronas. I mean, the first one, of course, being, yes, he's going to rotate out. The second one, the green Stompy decks, they kind of started off slow in the meta. They had a decent middle, but are now starting to fall off at the end. So it doesn't leave a lot of excitement or maybe expectations for those decks going into the next meta. And this being a part of those, I think, is suffering a little bit. So take those two things, and you notice there's a pretty big percentage drop in this card this week. I do think that continues. Number 2, Gideon of the Trials, down 99 cents to $16.96. Recently, Gideon's actually seen a little more standard play than he has been seeing, again, in control builds. Sees a fair amount of play in modern control builds, sometimes even legacy. But even so, with rotation coming in, he's going down almost $1 this week. And again, much like the other cards we talked about, expect this trend to continue. And number 1, hey, guess what? It's a card that is not rotating. Karn Scion of Urza, down 305 to $42.96. Two big things going on with Karn right now. The first, of course, is Dominaria packs are being open. There's more supply getting out there to people, which is a good thing. But secondly, you might have noticed if you looked at, say, the results of GP Pittsburgh last weekend, that Karn was nowhere to be found in the top 8, and there was actually a lot of diversity deck-wise in that top 8. So a lot of people are starting to move off the Karn train, and I do think that initially there was a lot of hype around the card, and people were trying it out in different places. We noticed about 2-3 weeks ago that Karn was starting to settle in more mid-range builds and starting to fall out of maybe the aggro and control builds a little bit. And now last week, Karn kind of disappeared, at least from the more successful builds. And I think that got a lot of people a little bit nervous, and this card is really, really cooled off and is going to continue to go down a little more. This is also a trend that's happening in Modern and Legacy too. I've noticed recently some of the popular affinity decks in Modern that have done well have been running this card, as well as in Legacy, Mono Red Prison decks, some of the more successful ones, again, not running Karn. So we're going to have to watch closely, but I do expect maybe he'll stabilize quickly. When Core Set drops, I feel like this card is going to play really well with Tezzeret, and that actually might be a successful deck on its own. Let's move on to the top 5 standard legal cards that have gained value this week. Number 5, Liliana Death's Majesty, up 24 cents to $13.25. Wow, Liliana is rotation proof, apparently. And that's because she's been so successful recently. I've been saying for a long time this card was undervalued. It was seeing a lot of successful play in Standard, and it was around $7, $8 for the longest time. Recently, people kind of caught on, and it has gone up. Especially over the last couple weeks, I've been seeing an improvement in results when it comes to some of these Dimir mid-range decks, running like Scarab God again and such. So I do think with those decks heating up, especially leading into a meta where we're going to get more cards that could complement black, like some of the zombie synergies and such, I do think a lot of people are paying close attention to this card right now. Now, rotation is coming for this card, and yes, this will lose value over the next few weeks like all the other cards that are rotating out, so just keep a close eye on it. Number 4, Noxious Gearhulk, up 25 cents to $3.38. One thing you're going to notice on today's list that the increases are very, very minimal. Of course, people don't want to spend money on cards until they see more about what's going to happen in the meta with a new set. So that is a trend that's going to continue at least for probably another week until things start to take off. But this card is not going up all that much. However, it is another card that kind of fits into the theory that maybe black gets a little bit better in the next meta. So that could be why you're seeing at least a little movement. Number 3, Galta Primal Hunger, up 31 cents to $8.55. Of course, this is part of the Stompy decks, but that's not the reason the card has been as strong as it has been over the last few weeks. It's really Commander. Dinosaur decks and Commander are popular, and other just green Stompy decks are popular too. So this card has been pushed because of that format. Number 2, another card that's moving because of Commander, Zakama Primal Calamity, up 31 cents to $8.95. Of course, another great card for your Commander Dinosaur build. And number 1, Aetherflux Reservoir, up 45 cents to $2.75. Yeah, this is moving mostly because of Commander again. However, I will say that I have noticed in Modern more of the Ironworks combo decks running like one of these, so that could have something to do with it too. Okay, let's move on to the top 5 Modern legal cards that have lost value this week as we move into Modern. Number 5, you know it, you love it. It's Horizon Canopy from Future Sight, down $3.24 to $69.99. Of course, it's such a huge part of so many Modern mana bases and Legacy as well, and a little bit of Vintage play too. But the thing with this card that has kept it as strong as it has been over the last few months is the fact that it's from Future Sight. It's a little bit harder to find. It has that unique border, unique art. There's a lot of players that just prefer this over the Iconic Masters reprint. As a matter of fact, this card got really hot maybe about a month or two ago. It spiked really aggressively. Since then, it's been normalizing down a little bit. Now, the Iconic Masters version has been going up slowly. You can pick those up now around $50, which actually seems pretty expensive in hindsight. But it has actually gotten to that point. And yeah, it's still about $20 off from this version of the card. I would expect this one to come down a little bit. I feel like this one will always be maybe about $12 to $18 more than the Iconic Masters one, though. Number 4, Escape Shift, down $3.94 to $42.74. Okay, this is from Morning Tide, of course. It had a lower print run, and recently we found out that it is being reprinted as a Mythic in the core set 2019. And because of that, this card has gotten very soft and has lost a lot of value over the last couple weeks, actually. Number 3, another card that's being reprinted in core set 2019 as a Mythic. It's Crucible of Worlds. This is the 5th Dawn version, down $4.27 to $56.06. The other version from 10th edition has gone down a little bit this week too, but it didn't make our list. Still went down around $2 or so, though. Number 2 is Liliana of the Veil from Innistrad, down $4.35 to $104.99. This is just Liliana, I think, normalizing a little bit, trying to find her price point, which I think is probably between $100 and maybe $105. And she did get a little softer when Jund was in a slump a few weeks back, but Jund has done better recently. So I think that's going to keep the card at around the $100 mark, as well as her counterpart. That card is also stabilized pretty nicely. Now, even if Jund didn't do well, I mean, she still sees playing so many other builds. In Modern, a lot of the Shadow decks will still run her, of course. Smarter Pyromancer sometimes out of the board. Sees playing Legacy. This is a card that I think, until it sees a reprint, will stick around that $100 price point. Number 1, another card from Jund, Dark Confidant. Ravnica's City of Guilds version down 410 this week to 76.47, with Modern Masters going down 493 to 72.46. So this is still declining, even though Jund is doing better. One of the factors, though, involved with this card, however, is its play, or maybe I should say lack thereof, in the Humans deck. One of the things that really made this card take off a while back was that it was seeing play in Humans decks in multiple copies in the main. That really has changed recently. For a while, it went down to like 1 copy. Now I'm seeing the more successful Humans decks not running any copies of this. So that is hurting the price maybe more so than the slump Jund had even. Okay, let's move on to the top 5 Modern legal cards that have gained value this week. Coming in at number 5, an old classic, Cavern of Souls from Modern Masters 2017, up 310 to 87.97. This is just a card that's going to keep going up until it gets reprinted again, and who knows when that will be. This got reprinted, of course, as a Mythic in this set, but even the original version from Avacyn Restored is around the same price point. It's just such a key card in so many big decks in Modern and Legacy. Number 4, Velika, the Molten Pinnacle, up 378 to 24.63. Well, this is heating up. See what I did there with the whole volcano? Yeah, okay. This is heating up, of course, because of Scapeshift being reprinted, so that got cheaper. A lot of people thought, I can now afford maybe that Scapeshift or Titan Shift build. Unfortunately, the money you save there, you're kind of losing now with Velika. Number 3, Sword of Fire and Ice from Modern Masters at 401 to 61.40. Now, this card has actually been really hot. And see, another fire card. Look at me today. This card's been hot recently and keeps going up week after week. And before that, we were looking at the original version going up. Now, this does see Legacy play in like Death and Taxes, Stoneblade, and such. However, that's not really what's moving it right now. It's more so because of Commander, and we've talked about that over the last few weeks. But Battle Bond brought a lot of good partner commanders and Izzet colors to the format. So this is a response to that. Number 2, Mox Opal, this time from Modern Masters 2015, up 424 to 105.57. Now, we've been following the Scars one for a number of weeks. This one finally kind of catching up to that. And it's another card that probably really could use a reprint. It's in so many key decks like Ironworks Combo, Affinity and Modern, and Legacy and Steel Stoppy. Just a lot of really big decks that run this. Number 1, Grim Lavamancer from Torment, up 986 to 19.99. Huge spike this week. Now, this is a card that has been successful for a while in Modern. You're going to find this in Hollow One decks, Burn decks, Jund decks, even Legacy this sees play, sometimes in like Grixis Pyromancer or out of the sideboard for Reanimator. This is a successful card that has flown under the radar for a while, and I think finally people are taking notice. The big catalyst for this, though, I think was the fact that there was a Magic Online Modern PTQ, and the winning deck was running 4 of these. It was a Goblin deck. So I do think a lot of people noticed the card just from that exposure. And the Torment version, being a little bit older, less copies available, spiked pretty aggressively. Now, the other versions are still holding relatively stable, but that could change on the heels of this spike. I do think this will eventually stabilize down a little bit over the coming weeks, but I don't think it's going to go back down to as low as it was prior to the spike. Alright, let's move on to our Vintage Spotlight, and there's some more buyouts going on and some interest in unlimited cards again. Now, I don't know if it's like the same person buying out these unlimited cards, or if maybe the big buyout happened a couple weeks ago and now other people are like, I should just go out and buy some unlimited cards that I can afford, leading to some of the dryness in the market. So let's take a look. It doesn't feel like strong market manipulation, but it definitely feels like there's people buying these cards. The first one is Living Artifact, up 10.06 this week to 19.95. Now, the first 4 cards we're going to look at, including this one, are all cards from Unlimited that are not on the reserve list. And as a matter of fact, they've all been reprinted. You can find cheaper copies. But again, it's all about people trying to pick up these unlimited cards. Here's the next one. It's Mana Barbs, up 11.10 this week to 24.97. The third one is Web, up 11.35 to 15.50. And the fourth one is Jade Monolith, up $11.53 to $19. Colossus of Sardia up 1171 to 2549. Now, this is not from Unlimited, but it is from Arabian Nights, but it has something in common with those other cards. It is not on the reserve list, and it has been reprinted. So again, this is all about people trying to pick up those original copies of the cards. And of course, Arabian Nights is a set a lot of collectors are interested in, not to mention a lot of 93, 94 players are also looking at many of these cards. Mold Demon, our first reserve list card on the list today, believe it or not, of $15, $19 to $30. Nothing crazy about this card other than maybe the art, which is really unique. I'll give it that. But yeah, this is just being bought out, most likely because it's a Legends reserve list card. Land's Edge from Legends of $15.39 to $34.99. This is not on the reserve list. It's been reprinted in Chronicles. You can get those for under $1. But I've been saying for a long time that this card was undervalued. So this is probably a little bit of an overdue adjustment. And this is one I brought up, I think, on a couple of our Picks of the Month videos. So hopefully you grabbed a copy because it is going up. Stoneforge Mystic from Worldwake of $30.96 to $54.99. Maybe the most important card on our vintage list today, and it makes it on the vintage list because it's banned in modern, so it didn't really fit there. Now, let's take the Wayback Machine to the market watch that occurred right before the banned and restricted list update that brought us Bloodbraid Elf and Jace into the modern environment. I remember especially Bloodbraid Elf going up that weekend quite a bit. And I said, this is definitely speculation that a lot of people are thinking maybe it will get unbanned this week. So it might be a good spec, might be a bad spec. Now that I saw what happened there, I'm a little more suspicious about this one. This could be a spec and people just might think it's going to be unbanned because, hey, they did unban Jace last time. Anything could happen, right? And that might be all this is. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. But I feel a little stronger that maybe this could be due to a leak. And what I mean by that is I don't think Wizards is necessarily calling up Star City Games or Channel Fireball and saying, hey, we're going to unban this on Monday, adjust your pricing. I think this is maybe people at Wizards or the people that work on the website or what have you. They know this is coming because the article has already been written. People talk to each other. Someone tells a friend who tells a friend who tells a friend. Eventually it gets to a person that decides they might want to pick up some copies. The market starts to dry up a little bit, and that's what you're seeing. So, time will tell. We're going to know on Monday if this gets unbanned or not. But I feel like this is a strong indication. This just doesn't feel like sole speculation to me. Maybe I'm wrong. This feels stronger than that. This is also a good legacy card, I should point out, for, again, a lot of decks like Stoneblade or Death and Taxes. But that's definitely not what's pushing this price point. There's much more to this. I guess we'll find out on Monday. Raging River. Here's an unlimited card that is on the reserve list and is actually much more collectible. Up 167.79 to 245.15 this week. Pretty big spike though. Probably a little bit of market manipulation in there. Speaking of market manipulation, I had to show you this one. It's Bayou from Unlimited, of course, on the reserve list. Up $1,736.59 to $202,072.50. That's actually kind of tough to say. Anyway, this card is definitely going up in value, but not at this rate. This is one of the more extreme variants of market manipulation that we were seeing a lot of over the last couple months, and it has slowed down and tapered off, but it looks like it's happening with this card. Basically, what will go on is someone will buy up the cheaper copies, but they'll take the next step, and they'll list copies of this card at an extremely high price. That throws off the data in the Crystal Commerce system. So a lot of websites will report out that this card is valued higher than it is. And that's what you're seeing here, no doubt. This will come back down over the coming weeks, obviously, as that listing will eventually go away. But at least for right now, this is highly, highly inflated and not realistic. Now, it's still a very expensive card, and it is still climbing in value. Keep that in mind. But it's not climbing this much in 1 week. All right, with that being said, that's the market watch for this week. Now, it's going to be a big week. Ban and restrict the list update on Monday. That could potentially impact the market coming up in the next few days. Also, 2 weeks from now, with the core set coming out, Standard will heat up again. And right after that, we're going to find out more about the Commander decks. And that's going to bring a little more heat to the Commander format like we were seeing over the last few weeks with Battlebond. That will just get reignited. But until next time, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible by the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.